Hey, hello. You're stuck in traffic with Wolf Gorlick. A couple minutes on IT and IT security. This weekend, right? It was beautiful. It was unseasonably warm up here in Michigan. And I took the opportunity to take perhaps the last of the season a walk around the lake with my daughter, as I love to do. And we talked about all the normal dad-daughter things, right? Self-doubt, philosophy, the fact that whatever we're talking about is the most realistic falsehood that we can get, right? Don't trust your senses, and even if you do trust your senses, don't trust your cognitive biases. Everything is just as close enough to being right and no more. And always remember what Ambrose said: politeness is merely the most acceptable hypocrisy. You know, it's no wonder she's kind of an interesting kid. You know, come to think of it, I might have messed her up a little bit. But one of the other things we talk about is using math and using the values we can get to get an idea, to get something directional, right? That isn't right. We know it's not right, but at least points in the right direction. In her case, this was had to do with some robotics that she's working on. But today I want to teach you guys strategist math. Strategist math. This would be a great time to have like an editor. We could have like a title, strategist math. And how to use some simple stats to get an idea of something that's the most right-wrong answer possible. So, Gartner had a stat that said that you know, average companies spend around, I think it was 3.4% on IT, and of that they spend anywhere from 0.12 to 0.3% of gross revenue on security. So to make the math easy, I'm going to use 0.2%. About a year ago, I did some analysis of the IoT market, and most of the companies are small. Most of them are below 50 million. It's like 38% is up to 10 million, 35% is 10 million to 25 million, and another 20% is at 25 to 50 million space, right? So over 70% of them are less than 50 million. 50 million, 0.2. That means most companies are spending like $100,000 on IT security in the IoT space. Now, that's just one data point. We can cross-check that with other things, right? So what about employees? If you look at employees, about 72% of the firms have 200 employees or less. About 21% of them have anywhere from 201 to 500 employees. Okay, so we got small amounts of revenue, less than 50 million, small amounts of employees, most of them less than 200. Right, so another statistic from Gartner says $525 per employee is spent in security, which means you multiply that by 200, you get around $105,000. So pretty close, right? $100,000 based on revenue, $100,000 based on employees. Pretty close. Now, another interesting stat is, and this is something you guys have probably heard me quote for years now, and it really needs to be refreshed if someone wants to do the study. I'd appreciate it. I think this number originally came from McAfee, but it said, you know, you have one information security professional per 1,000 employees, and you have one information security professional per 20 IT people. Okay, so again, you look at 1,000 employees, right? Now we're talking about 200. Which means you probably got less than one FTE working in those companies on security. So less than one employee, less than $100,000 for most IoT companies. That is the spend, and that's the staffing for the entire security firm that's protecting the device you just bought. It's wrong, guaranteed to be wrong, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close, and it indicates a couple things. One, when you buy IoT, be prepared if you're using your business to absorb some of those costs to protect it, right? You're going to need to do some patching. You're going to need to do some red team on it to assess it yourself. You're going to need to put it in a special network, those types of things. One. Two, as a strategy for figuring out things, we talk a lot about metrics, and everyone wants the perfect metric. All metrics are wrong. We just want something directional. And this is a good example of taking a series of assumptions and coming up with a number that gives us some direction. We can say, man, quarter of a person, and 100K budget, that's what IoT firms are doing, right? And three, there, we've done some math. People say IT people don't like math. Now we can do math. Life is good. Cheers.